Military tanks are already staging and rolling down the streets of Washington, D.C. ahead of this weekend's military parade. But how much is this parade actually going to cost us taxpayers? Well, we know it's the Army's 250th birthday, but it also just so happened to coincide with President Trump's 79th birthday. And he said today, if you want to use this parade as a venue to protest his immigration enforcement, you should go somewhere else.
And we're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. We're going to have a lot of, and if there's any protester wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest, but, you know, this is people that hate our country.
Yeah. You can interpret the president's words any way you want, but I thought it was important for you to hear it directly from him. Now, before we get into how much this parade is going to cost you, I want to thank my paid Facts HQ subscribers for voting for this story as the bonus this week. If you want to vote on next week's bonus story, make sure you follow these steps and become a paid subscriber. There are several other perks too. And if you don't want to be a paid subscriber, that's cool too. You can be a free subscriber and you will get access to my daily Facts HQ email, which is an excellent resource, so make sure you sign yourself up. Okay, so let's talk about the cost of this parade. First of all, you should understand that the country was always going to celebrate the incredible milestone of 250 years of the United States Army. It, of course, is important to celebrate and honor our great service members and the traditions of the Army. But this military parade was not a part of the original plan. The truth is, President Trump has wanted to have a military parade like this since his first term. Back then, when he first pushed the idea, his key advisors and DC politicians talked him out of it because of the cost associated with a parade like this and the damage that these heavy military vehicles would do to the streets and infrastructure of Washington, D.C. But this time around, those advisors are no longer in the White House. So President Trump decided that he was going to add a parade to the Army's 250th birthday celebration. The Army says the parade will feature 150 military vehicles, 50 aircrafts, flyovers, bands, 6,600 soldiers, some riding horseback, and at least one military dog. There will be a grandstand where President Trump will view the parade, and he will reportedly receive a flag from the Army Golden Knights. Now to the cost of this parade. Here's the Army Secretary talking about it just a few days ago.
A very straightforward question. We've got this big parade coming up in a little over a week. What's the budget?
25 to 40 million.
That's a pretty rough estimate for something that's going to happen in less than 10 days. That's as close as you can give us here today.
We have a bucket set aside, Senator, for any contingencies or damage that we cause. We are aspiring to zero, but we have already budgeted in case we have to reimburse anyone.
So a minimum of 25 million and somewhere around 40 is the upward estimate?
Yes, sir.
So you heard the upper end is about $40 million. And you heard the Army Secretary also say they have money set aside for damage. See, Washington, D.C. officials say having all these heavy tanks and military vehicles rolling down regular city streets could possibly cause upwards of $16 million to repair, which you just heard the Secretary say they're going to have to reimburse D.C. for. Of course, the Army Corps of Engineers has been working on this issue for the last few weeks, trying to mitigate that potential damage by placing these metal plates on the road to try and absorb some of the weight of the vehicles and protect the streets. But there's definitely going to be damage when all is said and done. Now, lots of lawmakers, including Republicans, have questioned whether this parade is a good use of taxpayer money, especially since the Trump administration has been all about reducing spending, reducing costs. And in fact, the Trump administration announced just a few months ago that they're working on cutting more than 80,000 jobs from the Department of Veterans Affairs. The cost of this parade is also a big pill to swallow for House and Senate Republicans who are actively also trying to cut billions of dollars from Medicaid and food assistance, especially since more than 1 million veterans are currently benefiting from those programs. But President Trump says it's the Army's 250th birthday and the United States is going to celebrate it, and he's going to get his military parade. He said the cost associated with it is peanuts compared to the value of doing it. And there are some who agree with that, saying military parades inspire young people to sign up and join the military. Now, whether that happens or not, or whether the cost is worth it or not, that is up to you to decide.